the table, I remember last time being far in terms of being able to go from side to side. Maybe you could just, where's the button that I'm going to push?
Yeah, click on that.
Right there for each slide?
Yeah, go forward or backwards if you want to go backwards.
Okay, so it needs to be closer.
No.
I can use this?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can take me this closer to it.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So today we will have a discussion on Bhakti-yoga. Bhakti-yoga is something that everyone can take advantage of. It is a journey. So Bhakti-yoga is a journey. Everyone can make a decision to be on that journey, depending on where we are, what kind of questions we have about our particular situation in life. So first, before I start speaking, I would like to offer my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, Nama Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Vasaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Itinamane, Namaste Saraswati Devan, Gaur Vani Pachurane, Nivishesha Shunivani Pastacha Desatadane. Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinda. Chant with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mataji, excuse me. If you want to continue, you could maybe take them to the lobby, because I'll be able to concentrate. So the first part of our discussion is what is actually Bhakti-yoga? Sometimes when I come to the temple, I meet people and they hear that we practice Bhakti-yoga, and we hear the word yoga, and there's a lot of yogas, a lot of opportunities for yoga, a lot of discussion for yoga. So today we're going to talk about actually Bhakti-yoga. Bhakti-yoga gives us an opportunity to maybe answer some of the questions we have and be honest about the fact that we do have some questions. So one question is, what kind of yoga is Bhakti? Really, Bhakti-yoga is I was just speaking to some of our guests. They were asking me about how we feed the deities and how they eat and how we dress them. And sometimes it takes, obviously, a little bit of time to actually understand that the deities represent God, and God is a person. I was speaking one time to some young students who were visiting, and I said, God has a life. He has a life. He's not just sitting up there with a gray beard, mocking points, bad karma, good karma. He has a life. And our opportunity to practice Bhakti Yoga gives us a chance to get to know God and to develop a relationship with Him. So the word yoga itself means to connect. Bhakti Yoga is the opportunity to connect with God. And we have scriptures, we have procedures by which we can establish that connection. One of the ways that we connect is through meditation, the mantra, the Maha Mantra. And the Maha Mantra that we chanted earlier and that we were chanting so nicely with Radha Prabhu who led the kirtan. We're singing, we're dancing, we're enjoying, but simultaneously we are actually connecting, enhancing our relationship with Krishna. And one of the things that I try to impress upon everyone is that this process of Bhakti Yoga is a individual, which means you don't have to be an initiated Hare Krishna to be on the path. You don't have to be a part of this temple community for 10 years to be able to make some advancement on the path. So one thing that's very important to me is explaining and to everyone that there are many ways to connect with Krishna, and you can do it chanting your japa, you can do it at home. That is the point. You don't have to be in the temple to connect with Krishna. It helps, definitely, even if you have a temple room at home. I kind of doubt that your kirtans will be as ecstatic as the ones that we have here, and your deities are not this beautiful. I would go so far as to say that. But the point is, even I am not here every day of the week. So I want to have the opportunity to connect with Krishna when I'm not at the temple. And so that can be done at home, in addition to coming to the temple. Again, yoga means to connect. We connect through singing, we connect through service. I was explaining to some of our guests that there's a whole process. She was asking me about, she was looking at some of the notes that I lent her, and she said, what about prasadam? How does that happen? Well, we are learning to see Krishna as not only a person, but the supreme person. And so therefore, we offer him everything that he asked for as much as we can. And then there's many services that we can do. Working in the kitchen, this is a way to connect. This is a part of Bhakti Yoga. Dancing in the kirtan is a part of Bhakti Yoga. And what is the purpose? Everything is about connecting, and everybody is an individual. So therefore, everyone may use their propensities to connect to Krishna. A couple of weeks ago, well, right before Gorpanim, I was here on a Saturday, and we had some devotees here cleaning the temple room. This is an opportunity to connect to Krishna, cleaning his temple room. And one of the things that I found very exciting was, if you look at the picture on the right, this was a family that came in, and they came in to take darshan. They were apparently from India, so they had some familiarity with the concept of taking darshan. But when they saw all of the cleaning taking place, they waited their turn, they got the mop, and each of those family members took the mop and started to clean. They understood that here is an opportunity for me to serve Krishna. So I was pretty excited about that. When I was looking through and creating my notes, I was looking for situations where I could see what our scriptures, what the database, what the lectures from Srila Prabhupada tell us about the different situations that we can practice Bhakti Yoga. And so someone asked Srila Prabhupada about devotees that live outside, because there was a time in the history of ISKCON, it's interesting, when we joined, there was a concept that everyone, in order to make spiritual progress on their journey, they needed to live on the temple grounds. And the question was, Prabhupada, what if people don't live at the temple? Are they real devotees? And Prabhupada said, yes, why not? It is simply an example how to become Krishna conscious. You can start a similar place in your home, in your village, in your town. You can do that. Srila Prabhupada went on to say, Krishna consciousness is not limited. Therefore, we have written so many books. It is a great science. You can do it anywhere. That is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All over the world, as many towns and villages as there are, this Krishna consciousness movement must be spread. So, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Alachua, New York, Canada, your house, you can practice Bhakti Yoga, because this is an opportunity for each of us as individuals to connect with Krishna. Our own personal journey, our own personal relationship. So the question becomes, how does that happen? How does one practice Bhakti Yoga? I looked it up. I saw that there were X number of processes by the way that people can practice Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga. One is hearing. So as I looked for my pictures to prepare for this opportunity to share with you, I said, I want to make it clear that everything that the scripture tells us, everything that Srila Prabhupada has given us, it can be done in the temple, it can be done in your home. We see a family to the left who appears to either be at a temple or they have a very nice house. That's a temple, yes? But on the right, we see a group of people. Maybe they look like just regular people, but it is possible for those same people who don't look like Hare Krishnas to be reading the Bhagavatam and discussing it, to be reading the Bhagavad Gita and discussing it. So my point is, you can learn about Krishna, read about Krishna, hear about Krishna at the temple, at your house. And I have one friend, and I said, when are you coming to the temple again? He says, Mother Narayani, I'm an internet devotee. And I've met people that they have really developed their whole spiritual life from listening to YouTube. I mean, that's the age we live in. Nothing wrong with that. You can go to YouTube, you can hear the lectures of Prabhupada. So again, Bhakti Yoga can be practiced at home. The next process for following the path of Bhakti Yoga is kirtan or chanting. We have done it here today. You can do it in the temple with a group of devotees. And we see the group of people on the right. They maybe look like they're singing with a guitar, but they clearly could be chanting the Maha Mantra. And that is the point. We can encourage people. You can get a group of friends together in your home and you can chant Hare Krishna. You can encourage yourself, your family, and your friends to practice Bhakti Yoga at home. It can be done at the temple, can be done in your home. I saw a letter that Srila Prabhupada had written to Kirtananda, and Prabhupada said, regarding your question about the dancing should be done enthusiastically by raising the hands. All of Lord Chaitanya's followers used to dance with raised hands. I was watching the Madhujis when they were dancing today, and they had those hands up. I was like, oh yes, Prabhupada would be smiling. If someone dances with ecstasy, that's all right, but it's better to dance with raised hands. So again, this is a point that Bhakti Yoga, because this is a part of the process. It is for everyone. We see on the left, we see a family that if you dance at home with your family, you can just add a little bit of kirtan to that. and then you're practicing Bhakti yoga. Okay? In the temple, at your home. Bhakti yoga is for everyone. The next step of practicing Bhakti yoga is remembering, constantly remembering the form, the qualities, and the pastimes of Lord Vishnu. I chose this picture because it shows that we are taking care of the form of the deity by having an abhishek, but we also allow guests to bathe the deity. So again, there's no restriction. You don't have to be initiated. If you're curious, if you're interested, you have the opportunity to take part in this ceremony. The next part on the path of Bhakti yoga, serving. What caught my eye here was serving the devotees or serving humanity. So on the left, we have started Vishal Prabhu as takes a team of devotees out to distribute prasadam to the homeless. So they are serving humanity. Whoever cooks for that service is participating in the process of Bhakti yoga. The devotees that go out to serve, they are participating in Bhakti yoga. And of course, those people who are in line to get a plate of prasadam, they are beginning their spiritual journey. So that is serving humanity on the outside, and of course, serving the feast. That Gopani feast was awesome, wasn't it? Thank you, Mother Jyoti Gopani and Mother Radhapuya. The next step in the process of Bhakti yoga, deity worship. Again, we have some pictures of devotees here worshiping, and I love this picture of Srila Prabhupada. I remember years ago when people would come to the temple and they'd be curious about the altar. Even a person who's curious about, they like chanting, they like the kirtan, they look at a little bit of the books, but then understanding the concept of deity worship, it is at another level. But what I have found personally, those other steps that we looked at, the chanting and the hearing, the more you hear about Krishna, then when you see the deity, you say, oh, this is the person I was reading about. When I read about Lord Chaitanya and I come to the temple, there he is. It's not a foreign concept to me. Okay? When I read about Lord Nityananda, whom I happen to like, I find it to be kind of naughty sometimes. So I like some of his tricks that he plays. So when I see Gauni Tai, I think about what I've read. So that's why I can see why we are given the process of hearing, reading, chanting. You hear about Krishna. It's like Prabhupada explained one time. If you had a long distance relationship with a person, how do you get to know that person? Just think about it. I mean, back in the day, there was a concept called pen pals. I don't know if anybody in this room knows anything about it, but somehow or another, we would connect with a person who was far away. And you start to have exchanges. You have letters, you send pictures, you read about the person, they tell you about themselves. So then you start to form a bond. You start to develop a relationship. So in the same way, when we're reading about Krishna, we start to understand his qualities, his activities, what he's doing. We think about him. When we see the deities, we say, oh, there's that person that I was reading about. So the worship goes right along with the reading because it allows us to make the connection. And that is what Bhakti yoga is all about, connecting. Worship of the deity can also take place at your home, and it can be simple. If you've been around for a while, you know that Gauni Tai deities, they're very merciful. So many temples start with Gauni Tai deities, and some people that have deities in their homes, they start with Gauni Tai. But also, the picture on the right, I don't know how much you can see, but it's mostly pictures. When I meet people and they say, I want to set up a little altar in my home. You don't have to get deities first. You want to be careful because when you have deities, you have Krishna. So you could start with a picture And you could create a schedule. You have a sacred space and you have a routine. It can be very simple. It does not have to be elaborate. You can know that when you go in after you're clean in the morning, you go into your sacred space and you may offer Krishna a flower. You may offer him a cup of water. You may offer him some incense. The point is, we have an opportunity to serve at the temple, but we also have an opportunity to serve at home, so that we can regularly be making our connection to Krishna. The next step in the process is praying, offering prayers, offering obeisances. I love this picture of Srila Prabhupada on the left and the devotees at the Miami Temple on the right, offering obeisances. All of these steps that are offered, described, and given to us in our scriptures, they are giving us step-by-step instructions to help us along our journey. Offering obeisances obviously also helps us to be humble. Why do we need to be humble? Because we need to understand that we are servants. No matter how much intelligence we have, how much money we have, what kind of car we drive, we are servants. And it actually, once you do it, the reciprocation is there from Krishna, and you start to feel good. You start to feel happy that you have an opportunity, because you can relax, because you can accept the fact that I'm not in control. And sometimes you think you are, but when nobody's looking, you admit that I'm happy. Service, the seventh, service. Become a servant of the Lord. On the left, I don't know how many of you know Constantine. Constantine is one of our tech people. I was here when he was setting up our kiosk so that we could get donations. Nice service. In the other picture, which you probably can't see very well, two Madhajis who were here decorating to get ready for a Gopani service. So many ways to connect with Krishna and to establish a connection, a relationship, a personal relationship, and Krishna reciprocates. Another process is friendship, developing a relationship of friendship. Arjuna and Krishna were friends. When we read the Krishna book, the Bhagavatam, we are exposed to the stories. This is when we have students that come, when we have guests, I explain to them, God has a life. And they're looking at me like, lady, what are you talking about? No, you have a life, right? So God is a supreme person. Why shouldn't he have a life? He has friends. So when we read, when we hear the pastimes in the Krishna book, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that gives us another level of understanding, seeing Krishna as a person, okay? As a person that we can connect with, that we can relate to. I don't know how many of you know the story of Krishna and Sudama, but one of his friends, whose wife said, we're struggling, you need to go see your friend Krishna and take him this little gift. And Sudama was like, I really don't want to offer this to Krishna. And Krishna's like, friend, what do you have there for me? So when you read, when you hear, it further helps you on your path to understand Krishna is a person. He has friends. He's doing things. Very interesting. The ninth item on the process of Bhakti-yoga is surrender. When I was looking for pictures of this, the first picture I chose was the picture of Srila Prabhupada, because this makes me think of when Srila Prabhupada went to meet his spiritual master for the first time. Was not his spiritual master. A friend had told him, there's this sadhu that's speaking. And Prabhupada had seen many sadhus because his father had a house where he invited sadhus to come. So Prabhupada had formed an opinion that some sadhus were a little bit flaky and some were serious. So he wasn't so excited about going. But we know the story that when Prabhupada went into the room, before he even settled, Bhaktisiddhanta looked at him and he said, "You're educated, you should take this message of Lord Chaitanya to the West." And Prabhupada is like, "Whoa, I haven't even sat down yet." But this is surrender. Gradually but consistently, Prabhupada developed that relationship and he took that order serious. And my picture on the right is Prabhupada getting on that boat. If you know Mother Narayani, you know that even after many, many years, I am still excited about the fact that a person at 69 years old would surrender and say, "I'm going to leave this very special place. I'm going to leave Vrindavan. I don't know how those people are going to receive me, but I have something to give them. I have something that they need." So surrender, to me, that is the epitome. That is the most example for me of surrender. Srila Prabhupada taking the instruction of his spiritual master so seriously that at 69, he got on that ship and came to the West. So sometimes when other devotees are giving class, I say, you know, I take the role of what they call the devil's advocate. You explain it, what you need to do, and then I say, well, one time, I don't know who was giving class, I think it was Radha Balaprabhu, and I said, "Prabhu, pretend that I am a neighbor down the street. I just came to see what you Hare Krishnas are talking about. I don't need anything. I have a nice job, nice place to live, my family is nice, my car, I'm good. So why should I even pursue this path?" I think Radhaballava said, all of those things that you have are going to run out. You know, the car is getting old, the body is getting old, is not going to last. And you know, we are all about making a distinction between that which is changing and that which is consistent. So my whole thing is honesty. I'm a very frank, blunt person. But I try to be gentle when I talk to people. And I say, you know, when no one else is looking or listening, look in the mirror and ask yourself some questions. Now, maybe when you're with your friends, you have to pretend that everything is good, everything is cool, I got it together. But you need to have a moment in each day where you look in the mirror and say, what's really happening? Am I really satisfied? Am I really with this program that I'm following? Or I'm just doing it because everybody else is doing it and it's not even working for me? Arjuna said, "Krishna, that which you are describing, I don't know. You want me to kill these people? And then you're telling me, you know, I need to be conscious. I need to be, how am I going to do that? My mind is everywhere. I'm looking across and I'm seeing a family." And Krishna's like, "I have some information for you." So why? Why would a person take the Krishna consciousness? Why would a person take the path of Bhakti-yoga? I think there's probably no one in this room who doesn't know at least one person, including yourself, who has stressful moments. Is there anybody in here who's stress-free? Everybody has a few moments. Gustavo, you stress-free? So the person on the left, that is my example of a person who's stressful. But look at the person on the right, okay? Prophet said there will be anxiety, but then once you take to the process, this is how you relieve your anxiety. Is it automatic? No, because it is a process. This is not, well, I've been, you know, with my bees chanting Hare Krishna for several months. I'm not fully realized. It's a process, because when you're chanting, are you actually connecting with Krishna? It is a process. It is an opportunity. And it's like, I remember listening to one devotee, his name is I think it's KB Keshava, a young, I call him young, out of London. And he said something once that stuck with me. He said, just because you are a part of the Krishna consciousness movement does not necessarily mean that you are Krishna conscious. Let me repeat that. Just because you are initiated, just because you're a part of the Krishna consciousness movement does not necessarily mean you are Krishna conscious. And what does that mean? He says it means that by coming in the movement, by coming to the temple, by serving, you have an opportunity to become Krishna conscious. But that is a process. It is a journey. So these kind of conversations are not just good for new people. They're good for someone who has been aspiring to practice Krishna consciousness for many years, because it is a journey. And no one else may know what is in our head, where we are on the path. One time I heard Prabhupada say, you don't have to ask anyone how you're doing in Krishna consciousness. You know, if you've been reading, if you've been hearing, we have a barometer. We have something that tells us. So you know where you are, and you know where you need to go, and you know what you need to increase and what you need to decrease. If you're not thinking of Krishna 24/7, and this is what Prabhupada said. He says, we are teaching our students to become topmost yogis. This is in reference to a question when someone was asking about yogi and yoga. Prabhupada said, my students have the opportunity to become topmost yogis by thinking of Krishna for 24 hours. Now, we just need to be honest. Are we thinking of Krishna 24 hours? If not, that means we have an opportunity to grow. If we're thinking of Krishna for 2 hours, there's 22 more hours left. It's a process. Another question. If a person from down the street says, well, why? Why should I take up this process of Bhakti-yoga? I think everybody in here would agree that relationships are important to us. And everybody has different relationships. Partners, husband and wife, girlfriend and boyfriend, friends, children, relationships. But Prabhupada said, in the material world, we're trying to be happy in society, friendship, and love. But the happiness that we're getting is compared to a drop of water. We are hankering after Krishna. That is our inner desire. I was explaining to some guests today that what we do as we practice Bhakti Yoga is we try to connect and partake in a reciprocal relationship with Krishna. And everybody has relationships. I think that if you put on your Bhakti Yoga glasses, you will see the relationships that you're in through a different lens. You know, you might wonder, I'm with this person, we seem like we were a perfect pair, but then what happened? But what are the expectations? What is the level of reciprocation? The question is, can that person, your mate, your friend, your partner, your children, your grandchildren, can they fully satisfy? Prabhupada says no. That doesn't mean that we don't have family, but family and relationships are much smoother if we're seeing everyone as an aspiring servant of Krishna. And then the expectations in that relationship change. We don't expect that person to be, head over heels for us. We expect that we are a unit, we are a family, and at the center is Krishna. And so therefore, if we are all understanding that as individuals, we have an individual relationship with Krishna, we can help each other by reading and hearing. So it changes the expectations of the relationship. Prophet has told us, the scriptures have told us that in order to be fully satisfied, we need to work on connecting with Krishna. Prophet says, offer your feelings to Krishna. Krishna will be satisfied. But it's not just Krishna that will be satisfied. You will also be satisfied. Again, over time, you will see even the most perfect friendship, the most perfect marriage, the perfect bond, what appears to be a perfect bond between a parent and child. You have to be honest with yourself. I tell my kids, they're not kids anymore, but I tell them anyway. When you feel yourself in a situation where you're compromised, step away and check in with yourself. And that is your moment to be honest with yourself. Is this situation, is this scenario, is this relationship fully satisfying to me? And that's an opportunity to be honest that something is missing. And what Srila Prabhupada has given us, what the scriptures give us, what the process of Bhakti-yoga gives us is a way to fill that gap. Prabhupada said those relationships are like a little one drop of water. And that's, if you're very thirsty, will you be satisfied with one drop of water? No. So it's really just an opportunity for everyone to say, let me try it. Because if I'm honest, I'm not fully satisfied. That doesn't mean that I'm saying it's bad to be in a family, it's bad to be married. But at some point, if you want more, then you have the opportunity to try to connect with Krishna and see what the reciprocation will be like. It doesn't matter if we are new devotees, guests for the first time. All of us probably have moments where we are confused, where we are perplexed. Just like Jai, Shri Radha Braja Vihari Ki Jai. If we have moments where we are confused, overwhelmed with the day-to-day challenges, this one person that I listen to, he says, you have earthquakes and you have lifequakes. And just like you don't know when an earthquake is coming, you don't know when a lifequake is coming. And what is that? Oh, when I got to my job, my boss called me in the office and said, we're going to have to let you go. Lifequake, okay? Your doctor calls you in after you had a test and he says, I think we're going to have to test further because I see some problems that may be very serious. You go home one day and your partner says, I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied. The suitcase is by the door. It's called a lifequake. We don't know when they're coming, but we know if we've been looking and living, they do come. They're part of life. So Arjuna was like, Krishna, wait a minute. You want me to kill my relatives? Lifequake. So how do we respond to that situation? How do we understand the bigger picture? The bigger picture. Krishna explained to Arjuna the bigger picture. This is not just about you and those people over there, that's your relatives. There's a bigger picture. Who am I? What is my identity? The path of Bhakti-yoga helps us to understand that we may wear many different hats. We may take on many different roles. But when you look in the mirror and you say, who am I? Am I the job that I have? Am I the parent? Am I my hobbies? Because once you identify who you are, then your whole life is kind of connected to that. You make decisions based on how you see yourself and what you see as your identity. Okay? If I say, I'm a parent, but then what happens when you get to the empty nest, when those kids grow up and move away? Who are you then? Many people talk about when you have a job for many, many years, And all of a sudden, either it's time for retirement or you're being replaced. Your whole identity, all of your energy was about this job, making it, doing better, getting to the top. But the day that you wake up and you don't have that job anymore, who are you? These things are necessary. Relationships, parents, jobs, but we have to be balanced. We have to understand our identity. If we see ourselves as a bhakta, as a person who is connected to Krishna, then everything that we're doing becomes service, but we're not confused or distracted by the fact that these are just temporary roles, okay? The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that our identity is not about our ego, it's not about our intelligence. Chapter by chapter, the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, you come to realize it's not about being a family member. You have a duty to do, you do it, and there's a saying, I'll do my best and I'll let Krishna take care of the rest. And we become convinced of that. I personally think that it gives us an opportunity to relax because there's so many questions, so many dilemmas, so many life quakes. How do we balance that? We have a resource, the Bhagavad Gita, the path, understanding the path of Bhakti-yoga. That is our resource. That is what we can turn to. I think that people that come to the temple for the first time, and also people who've been coming for many years, they have the same questions. Who am I really? Where am I? Okay? Why am I here? How long am I here for? And what is beyond this? What is beyond this? I think I remember sometimes I would listen to devotees tell about their experiences in Krishna consciousness and their journey. And a lot of people, especially in the 70s, they would say, I was searching, what is the purpose of life? What is life all about? So maybe they had some spiritual connection in their previous life, because I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking about that, okay? I randomly, nothing is random if we understand Krishna's a controller, but I was not saying, I want to know the purpose of life. But I also, at the same time, was understanding that things around me were not that, they didn't seem like they were satisfying or fulfilling. So a person who is wondering who they are, where they're going, and what's next, the Gita offers them some questions for that. And anyone, a newcomer, a person who has been here for a while, can we see the world slightly different, but the goal is the same. What is beyond this life? Some of the guests that I was speaking to today asked me about reincarnation. And I said, my understanding is that every living entity has a spiritual spark and is connected to Krishna. When we reach the human platform, we have more opportunities to ask, who am I? What is my life about? What should I be doing with it? And one person asked me, well, what happens at the end? How do you transition from, at the time of death, how do you transition? My understanding is that everything that we have done while we're in this life, in this body, with this intelligence, it adds up. And it puts us in a particular mindset when it's time for the transition. Some people are in a frame of mind, many people, I will be happy forever. I'm not worried about what happens next. I will be happy forever. Some people look around and say, I thought the process of education, career, marriage, living in a particular neighborhood would make me happy forever. But I don't see it in my parents, in my grandparents, in my neighbors. Something is missing. So this is what was happening in the United States when Srila Prabhupada came here. The young people were at a point where they said, I don't want to be disrespectful, but this plan that you have for happiness is not even working for you. So they started to look deeper and further. So what happens? What is beyond this? I have no recollection of my previous life. I can't say. Some people can say, oh, I was on my deathbed and I rose up and I went over there, and I cannot say that. But I will say that what the Gita shares is that there is an opportunity at that moment when you are transitioning from one body to the next. You can make use of the lessons from the Gita. Here's something from the 8th chapter of the Gita. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion. The key word there is devotion. How many hours of your life have you spent devoted to Krishna? Yogi doesn't mean somebody in the Himalayas and, long beard and long dreadlocks. You can be a yogi if you are committing your intelligence and your energy to serving Krishna. Okay? Those who are yogis in devotion, they never return to the temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Now that's pretty high philosophy. And I'm an honest person. So I will say to people, I don't know about that chapter of life. But what I do know is that while I'm in this body with this intelligence on this journey, I'm very satisfied with the reciprocation between me and Krishna, me and Lord Chaitanya. And I see that relationship different from any other relationship that I'm in. Each person has to try it for themselves. This is not about someone convincing you, someone telling you. You know if you're happy. You know if there's something missing. You know if you think your glasses are not working, you go to the eye doctor and you say, test my eyes. And you say, okay, we're testing you. And you say, read those letters. How many of you have been to eye exam? You know how you have to read those letters up there? Okay? So you're reading the letters and you're getting the letters wrong, and you tell the person, the technician, you say, ma'am, you need to clean that lens. And they say, excuse me, it's not the lens, it's your eyes. It's those cataracts that you have. You say, what? But I was just here 6 months ago, and everything was perfect. Everything looked perfect. Well, things are changing. You're going to have to get that cataract surgery. So in the same way, we have to be honest. When we see changes, we can't say, oh, I'm not going to go to this eye doctor anymore because his machinery is faulty. So you go from eye doctor to eye doctor. In the meantime, what's happening? Your eyes are getting worse. Your cataracts are getting stronger. You want to be blind? So our body gives us signs. Krishna gives us signs. Life gives us signs. We cannot ignore the signs. Because Krishna, there's this analogy in the Gita of two birds on a tree. Okay? And Krishna is right there. No matter what you decide to do, what path you decide to take, he said, I'm with you. I'm with you. I told you to take a left turn, you took a right turn. You are off the path, but don't you worry, I'm with you. So Krishna said, I told you you need to go get the eye exam. I told you. I told you you need to check your bank balance better because you are misrepresenting the amount of money that you have in the bank. I told you you needed to get your car checked. Now you broke down. What is my point? You cannot ignore the signs that you're getting, that changes are happening and you need to make a change. So, Bhakti-yoga, it is for everyone. Because every one of us in this room has questions. It does not matter how long you have been on the path of bhakti. If tonight is your first night that you came, or you've been coming for 10 years, we are all on a journey. We all have questions, and we all have the opportunity to make a connection, establish a reciprocal relationship. What does that mean? Many relationships that we partake in at work, at home, with kids, with spouses, they are relationships with people who are also struggling on their journey. It is not going to be perfect. There is one perfect person, and that is Krishna. And Krishna is very kind. He has come in the form of Lord Chaitanya, and he says, I will give you this process where you can be on your journey, check in with it's like in school you have a report card. Okay, how am I doing? Am I making progress? Am I feeling closer to Krishna? Am I surrendered to the fact that, accepting the fact that some things that I was told by my family, my friends, my boss, my teacher, my society will give me happiness. If it is not giving you happiness, you owe it to yourself to be honest. And that's one thing that I love about being a devotee. It is a personal journey. It is a personal relationship. Nobody needs to tell you you're not doing it right. If you are sincere, if you are trying, then Krishna will tell you, okay, you need to get up a little earlier. You want your japa, your meditation to be better, you need to get up a little earlier. So we make choices. Our life, our day is centered around the choices we make. What is the goal? I want to be happy. I want to be satisfied. Yes, I have to go to work. Yes, I have to do so many things. But there's a part of me that wants to be fulfilled and satisfied. And I have to tend to that. Just like I have to go to the dentist. I have to go to the doctor. I have to take my car for a checkup. I have to take my soul for a checkup. And that is what Srila Prabhupada has brought us. This is what Lord Chaitanya is offering us. So the process of Bhakti-yoga is for everyone along the journey. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Questions or comments? All right. Thank you. The class is over, but I'm available if anyone has any questions. We have some new people here, some students. So thank you. Time for Prasadam now. Another process for connecting with Krishna. Satisfying the tongue with Krishna Prasadam. So the Prabhupada key. Yes.
You also like I cannot even skip my mind that was possible. Very clear,
Okay.
simple English and very nice.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to more.
You tell Lieutenant President, okay? Yeah, it's important to me. It's important to me to communicate. Yes, yes. And you like the pictures? Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Uh-oh. How you guys doing? Huh? Thank you very much. You're welcome. Yes, have a seat. Yes. Yes. Oh, that was a priest. And like I said, oh, thank you, Boo. Like I said, everything that we do is based on scripture. You know, this person who came from India, he gave us all the instructions, all the books told us everything we do, how to how to serve Krishna, each part of the day, everything that they do. So this person is called a